Hi, this is Mike Boland, analyst with BI Kelsey, and today we're going to go over some of the top local trends that I'm looking at in the area of mobile, and there is certainly a lot going on, and we're just going to run through a few of the top trends as kind of a conversation starter for some deeper level analysis. So a good place to start is to look at really where we are now. This is stuff that I think we're all in agreement with in terms of mobile's opportunity, but it's good to kind of start off with a snapshot of where some of the usage is and where the growth we're seeing in mobile is occurring. So right now, US smartphone penetration is at 60%. 20% of search is mobile, so search queries out there, 20% of them have are happening on mobile devices, excuse me, and half of those searches are local or have local intent, and that compares with only about 20% of searches on the desktop that have that local intent. So some clear indicators that mobile has inherent ties to location and local intent, owing a lot to the local use case in mobile, the location awareness of the device, and usually the immediacy inherent in the usage of mobile when on the go. So despite some of that usage, the advertising dollars have not yet caught up. This is a Mary Meeker slide that has gotten a lot of play, but I'll go over it quickly. Essentially, it says that mobile currently has a 12% share of time spent with media when you compare it with print, radio, internet, and television. However, its share of ad dollars when compared to those other media is only 3%. So really what this boils down to is an oversupply of ad inventory, because if you consider the 12%, that's the usage representing all the ad inventory out there, and the kind of demand side of the equation is the ad dollars that haven't really caught up with that. So really what that is amounted to is an oversupply of ad inventory, and often when we have an oversupply of anything, the price will go down. And we're seeing that certainly happen in mobile, where the price of eCPMs, for example, when comparing desktop eCPMs with equivalent mobile inventory, the desktop is about 5x higher. Now that's a great thing for advertisers because they have access to undervalued inventory. However, for media publishers and media companies and app developers and anyone looking to monetize mobile with ad support, this is actually bad news because it mitigates their monetization opportunity. Now, one important point is that we believe this will turn around for lots of different reasons as Madison Avenue, that starts to catch up with the amount of available inventory out there. But more so, mobile's ad performance, its levels of engagement, and its sources of premium ad inventory, we believe will boost up some of these ad prices. And there are a lot of different sources of that premium inventory, but one I want to focus on is local or location targeted ads. So this goes into our mobile forecast, which we saw, overall in the US, mobile ad spending was $3.25 billion in 2012, going up to almost $16.79 billion in 2017. But interestingly, 38% of that spend last year was going toward location targeted campaigns. We believe that's going to grow to 54% by 2017. Now, there are a couple of reasons for this share shift towards location-targeted campaigns. Primarily, it's the usage that we went over. A lot of usage is in mobile, and especially in things like search, skews towards local intent. So the usage is there, but also the premiums that are going to be applied to location-targeted campaigns is going to lend into this dollar share shift, and those premiums are directly a result of performance we're seeing from location-targeted campaigns. So a few kind of examples in support of that claim. Mobile's ability to drive local conversions when ads are targeted in certain ways. These are data from Google showing that 73% of mobile searches trigger additional action and conversions. 28% of searches result directly in conversions, and that's things like visiting a store, making a purchase, and calling a business. Things that are very local, things that are very trackable and highly valued by small business advertisers or national advertisers, for that matter, that are targeting local markets. So not only are these things happening often and to a large degree, but they're also happening quickly. This is a key point. 55% of purchase-related conversions happen within 1 hour of the initial mobile search. So this tells me a lot about the opportunity to get in front of high-intent users. They're very much lower funnel. They're an hour away from a purchase, and therefore the ability to influence them with different kind of messaging, media, and content and advertising is a very opportune thing. So we're going to start to see, I believe, because of these usage realities that Google is indicating here, that there's going to be more interest from a lot of advertisers in getting in front of mobile users. A few more examples in support of the performance deltas that can be expected from location-targeted advertising in mobile. These are data from Millennium Media showing that when ads are targeted down to a hyper-local level, they're consistently outperforming ads that are targeted on a more kind of broad basis at a DMA or city level. And this is a click-through rate figure that shows that that's clearly proving out that location-targeted relevance drives more engagement. Similar data from XAD showing favorable click-through rates when looking at display and search, but more importantly is what's happening after the click. 36% of those clicks are leading to what we call secondary actions. So these are things like calls, directions to an advertiser, again, things that are very trackable, very tangible, and highly valued by a number of different categories of advertisers that are trying to reach local audiences. So not only is that kind of happening on a user level, but we are indeed seeing some advertisers catch on to that reality, and we're seeing some momentum on the ad buying side in terms of location targeting tactics. So one example is XAD. Again, this is data from XAD, like the previous slide. They're showing that across their network, geo-targeted and location-targeted ads have grown year over year from 27% of the campaigns they're running up to 58%. Similarly, Millennial Media is showing that of all of the campaigns run on their network, 19% of them have a store locator. And if you segment out retail and restaurant advertisers, it boosts up to 44%. So this is also interesting in pointing out that there are a number of different flavors of location targeting. Like the XAD data, it's where the ad is showing up in front of different users based on location signals coming from the phone, such as GPS. But it's also what's included within the ad, the proper calls to action being present to really capture this intent is important. Store locators, click-to-call links, lots of other things that on a tactical level are kind of material for another conversation, but nonetheless, you know, it's important to see that these are the types of things that are capturing user attention and engagement. Now, another important point here is that, you know, of all of this kind of advertiser behavior, the majority of it is actually happening by national brands and agencies. Like a lot of other things, it starts at that national level, then trickles down to small businesses. And that's certainly the case here. When we say location targeting, we mean both national advertisers, brands, agencies, but also mom and pops, SMBs, and the mid-market segment. The common element when we say location targeting is the kind of the components of the campaign itself and being, you know, reaching different user groups and audiences. So because this is mostly national advertisers in terms of adoption so far, where do SMBs stand right now? So we can look at that in a couple of different measures. So right now they're lagging behind to some degree. One measure of that is SMB websites. Despite the fact that we're seeing growing levels of mobile web searches end up on business web pages, only 5% of SMB websites are optimized for mobile. That's according to BI/Kelsey partner vSplash. So really this is an opportunity for third parties, media companies that operate at the local level, to help SMBs close that gap. And you know, it's important to note that this slide is about SMB websites, what they're doing there. That is just one of many different formats in which SMBs are becoming present in mobile. So let's go over what a few of those others look like. These are data from our local Commerce Monitor survey of small businesses and what they're doing, where they're spending their ad dollars, where they're seeing value. So this current data point looks at what's our SMB sample now doing in mobile, and this is a comparison of our most recent wave, which just came out, and the year prior. So we're seeing kind of a downshift in some formats for mobile engagement and mobile presence, such as mobile banner and mobile display ads and mobile apps. Some of these are known to be a little bit more kind of static, but we are seeing a clear uptick in some of the more direct response or engagement driven forms of mobile presence, like mobile search, location aware mobile ads, and things like mobile deals. So that kind of lines up if you look at where SMBs are reporting they're seeing the highest ROI or where they're perceiving ROI, and the winner there goes to mobile deals. And I believe that has a lot to do with the tangible nature of deal redemption. Is something that they can kind of see with their own eyes and touch and feel. It's something where they perceive a great deal of value. So that's something to continue looking at as the deal space itself continues to grow and merge more and more with mobile. So there are a number of other things we looked at that SMBs are doing. Check-ins. This is something that is very much related to the previous slide and deals, or at least check-ins have become one delivery mechanism for deals. So check-in programs such as Foursquare. How many SMBs are, have launched or claimed Foursquare profiles and are actually using those check-in programs? 22% report they do. But interestingly, if you add that 22% with those that say they're interested in doing it in the next year, so that's kind of the users currently plus the intenders, as I'm calling them, that boosts it up to about 76%. Now those that say they're going to, that's very aspirational, that doesn't always pan out, but this is one kind of proxy for an indicator of what we could expect to see in terms of some growth. So what are they using that data for? Monitoring information about customers, seeing user behavior and iterating on their marketing based on what that data is telling them. So I think this is also telling of SMB advertisers and their propensity to utilize data to better refine their marketing. So that's something to continue watching closely as well. Another thing we asked them, are you using barcodes to allow your users to consume different information about your business or deals or promotions? And 29% said yes, indeed they are. That's split between those that are using the barcodes in advertising materials that they're distributing, and then those that are using barcodes somewhere on the premise, like a store window. So here's another interesting one. The use of smartphone credit card readers like PayPal Here or Square. I just put out a research report on this very topic of mobile payments and POS innovations being made, and there's a lot happening there. A lot of benefits for businesses to be able to not only improve some operational efficiencies, but really utilize a lot of the data that these POS systems are telling them about what's going on with their businesses and how that can help their marketing. So anyway, a lot of competition, a lot of experimentation with different standards at these early days of mobile payments. There's NFC, there's other formats. Here we're just measuring credit card readers, again, like Square, PayPal Here, things that are very low barrier in terms of SMB's ability to just plug it into a mobile device and be able to accept payments. Anyway, 40% of those in our sample responded they are using those at the point of sale. If you add that to those that plan to do that in the next year, that bumps up to 56%. So clearly some opportunity there, some momentum, and something to watch clearly. And this is important for anyone in local media, not just if your business touches mobile payments directly, but anyone in local media and local advertising, because again, that closed loop kind of affirmation in a trackable path to the conversion can be revealed by a lot of these POS systems. So the ability to kind of be more efficient in terms of marketing, advertising, delivery based on very tangible purchase data is something that will kind of touch and have an impact on anyone whose business is in local media. So another question we asked them is kind of panning back, what is your kind of priority overall for using mobile marketing over the next 12 months? And 37% gave it a, the top rating we offered them, or one down, and that's very or extremely in terms of priority, are going to be implementing mobile marketing over the next 12 months. How does that stack up with other media we look at? That 37% isn't as high as other things like social media or search, but we believe there is momentum there, and we're seeing a clear uptick in SMB interest in mobile marketing. So lastly, a follow-on question, not just what your priority is, but what are the types of things you're going to be getting into. The largest single advertising format in terms of responses was mobile search, which is something that I was not surprised by. Search is something that continues to grow. Its intent-driven nature is something that is known to lead to a lot of engagement in mobile. That goes back to some of the data I showed in the first slide about percentage of searches that are mobile, percentages of those that are local. It's very much something that we believe is going to continue to grow, and very much tied to the growth of the mobile web. We live in a very app-centric mobile world these days. We're very bullish on the growth of the mobile web, where search is a key part, or kind of a front door to browser-based experiences. So we expect some growth there, and that's something to watch. So that's actually a good segue into my kind of final chapter here, which is about enhanced campaigns. We're just over a month into the implementation of enhanced campaigns, and what Google has done here is very interesting in federating campaigns across mobile, desktop, and tablet. What that's going to do is, I think, force a lot of businesses into mobile advertising, and by doing so, really start to work on those supply and demand economics I showed earlier. CPCs, for example, cost per click will go up due to higher bid pressure in those bid marketplaces and things like Google. So I think that's going to be great for the overall industry, and mobile ad rates to kind of go kind of closer to their actual value. But Google will clearly benefit from that, from having mobile CPCs that are higher. But it shouldn't be looked at as just a self-serving move on Google's part, because there is indeed a lot of benefits that can be expected in a more altruistic sense for SMB advertisers. So this, in my belief, brings a lot of advertisers into the world where they should be operating anyway. It's a multi-device world. Users are weaving in between different screens on the way to their kind of conversions, and advertisers need to be there. So enhanced campaigns almost accelerates that adoption curve, which is something that the marketplace I think needs. It allows advertisers to do all kinds of interesting things. Even though federating campaigns across all these different mediums, there are a lot of kind of conditional variables that can be set in terms of the campaign tactics. If I'm a mobile if I'm an advertiser in mobile, knowing that users are very lower funnel and closer to a buying decision, I don't want to advertise to them when my store is closed, or when they're perhaps 3 miles away or more. So this is really going to, again, force advertisers into not only adoption, but more savvy when it comes to mobile advertising. This is a quote from our friend John Busby over at Marchex, saying something that I very much agree with, which is that this is something that Google is going to do to make SMBs, or I guess a byproduct of it, whether or not it's Google's intent, a byproduct will indeed be that mobile advertisers, especially small business advertisers, will get a lot more effective at things like tracking ROI, running campaigns, and doing things like driving phone calls to their business if that's the type of lead they're interested in. That's very much a component of Google's mobile search strategies, and especially in mobile. So enhanced campaigns will allow advertisers to be more effective based on all the tools that it is espousing. So that is it. And please contact me if you have more questions about any of this. This is an ongoing area of focus for us. All of these different trends in mobile and how they are transforming. I can be reached at mboland@biakelsey.com, and we look forward to engaging you more over these subjects and more. So thank you for listening.